expelled from the state legislature. Did you at that point have any sense what was going to happen to you?
I didn't, but I think, what people keep saying is courage is contagious. When you watch people stand up for what is right, to defend their community, when marginalized groups come together and say, as Representative Jones has said, an attack on one of us is an attack on all of us.
Oh, that's what oh my God! That was hype.
Welcome to Fourside Fights, featuring Bonfire 10, Fendy, Chroma09, and Representative Zooey Zephyr of Montana. Citizens of Fourside, I'm Jackzilla, and I know, number one, Turn Down for Walt should quit Mario. He can do better, and he deserves better. Number two, until he proves he is using his newly acquired real estate license to build more housing, Hugs86 has been banned from Fourside Fights. Number three, Karia's SKTT1 World Skin will be barred. And number four, today is just the beginning. We're on the march to book Jimmy Carter for Fourside Fights. Let's go to each side. Are you down to do pundit battle with old Jimmy? Let's introduce, she's number 2 on the New England Fall 2023 Power Rankings, and she's willing to watch my League of Legends streams. What can't she do? It's Bonfire 10.
I would destroy Jimmy.
He claimed S2J. No,
what?
He claimed. What was that? The end of your sentence there?
I would destroy him.
Okay. I thought you said something else also. He claimed S2J would trounce Amsa on episode 4 of this show, but Amsa won, and we're cashing that in now, so it's negative 16 points. That's Fendrick Lamar.
We got a little bit of a mountain to climb, but that's fine. I would be honored to be in the same debate as Jimmy Carter. I would be honored if he even knew what Discord was. So I would take that as a win for everyone if he were even able to show up. So
yeah, we'd have to achieve it without those things happening. I think we could get him on the show, but he would not know where he was. He dodged the feds in 98, and he's assured me he is no longer a sovereign citizen. It's Chroma09.
Well, Jack, I can forgive the birtherism and the paper terrorism, but I can draw the line at them not getting me out of my parking tickets. I think if Jimmy Carter and Spark talked to each other for 30 seconds, they would both die instantly.
And then finally, she beat SFAT in Project M, made top 8 at the Northwest Majors 4, then defeated Republican Sean Patrick McCoy by 63 points to win office as state representative in Montana. She was interviewed by Whoopi Goldberg, but her hardest battle is here on Fourside Fights. It's Zooey Zephyr.
I gotta admit, I've got more nerves here than I did on The View, and if I were to go toe-to-toe with Jimmy Carter, I think he has the edge on geopolitical strategy, but I think I got him on the sticks.
Let's go. Welcome to Fourside Fights. Just to be absolutely clear to anyone who is tuning in from the world of politics, this is mostly a show about competitive fighting game community around Super Smash Bros. Melee for the Nintendo GameCube and Lord of the Rings, depending on my mood. You've met our 4 outstanding guests, who today are going to act as pundits as I throw topic after topic at them. They'll give their takes. If they're entertaining or interesting, I'll give them points. If they're boring, repetitive, or patently unreasonable, I'll subtract. And of course, I can mute any contestant at any time for any reason, although I will attempt to do so with more decorum and justification than the Montana State House. The player with the most points at the end is our winner. They get to commentate the 3 losers as they take it to Fourside in a free-for-all, so we can see exactly how their punditry translates to Melee. Let's get started with our first topic. Representative Zephyr, you tweeted out a thread back when Nintendo first released their new rules for community events and made the comparison to bicycle playing cards, saying, quote, insisting your home poker games be played a certain way or they'll sue you is unacceptable. You concluded, after some more analogies to cars and things I can't relate to, that, quote, goods purchased by people who bought them belong to the people who bought them, period. Is there a path to publicly funded challenges to Nintendo or other esports entities' legal control over broadcasts? And in general, how can we erode game developers' monopoly privileges over the gaming communities that form around their games? Let's start off with Fendrick Lamar and the hole for 16.
I wish. I really think that, if precedent and IP laws taught us anything, that we have a huge uphill battle if we really want to stake a claim that the content that we are able to produce with the underlying I guess technology is not detrimental or in a perfect world beneficial to the monopolistic overlords that you rightfully mentioned. I think absent some sort of anti-monopolistic executive order or bill, I think our options are relatively limited, because we're talking about companies that are worth billions and billions of dollars. And the sad fact here is that we were stoked about 93,000. There's levels to this, and I just think we're on a different level, and that's just the unfortunate reality.
Okay. Any hope from you, Chroma? Yes, please.
Jack, you know me. I'm not book smart. I'm money smart, and I think that makes me more intelligent. And Fendy was getting at somewhere. We need to bankrupt Nintendo. Folks, the Japanese yen's peg is being poorly maintained by the Bank of Japan. We can beat it. We can destroy their currency, taking Nintendo down with them. You've seen their GDP. It's not strong. Look at that thing since 1998. We can beat them. We can drive the entire country into poverty, and then really all we want to do is just make sure we can buy Nintendo IP for pennies on the dollar. There are going to be some collateral effects, but I say we cross that bridge when we get to them.
Yeah, so just mass misery and poverty, but we get the Nintendo IP worth to Chroma 09. Bonfire 10.
The birth rate.
Yeah. I have heard that the Japanese yen drops January 7th, so that'll be a good time to start that. I think we have no chance fighting against Nintendo. And even if we had the money, it's if anyone who has that money does not have a reason to fight it. And I think we should go the route of, reskinning the game and porting the code over. And I don't think Nintendo cares if it's not their characters, if it's not their logo being used. And I think they technically have a right for the game, the code itself. But we can just tell them we made it from scratch.
Yeah, I think
are they gonna fucking check?
Yeah, public domain fighters. You're on the same tip as me, which is we just need to do public domain fighters, which is a totally independent game that doesn't share code with Melee. Wink, wink.
Peach's name can be Janet. It's fine.
Zoe, what do you think? Is there any hope here? What's your path? You made the tweet that spawned this topic.
Absolutely, and I appreciate Chroma's treatise on soft power. But for me, the good news is you don't have to debate Nintendo on this. We have the ability to pass this type of legislation in our legislatures across the country, if not federally. We have seen attempts at right to repair, both for wheelchairs. We've seen right to repair for farm equipment. And to me, this is another section of that. And the point being is that your intellectual property rights, once you've reached the point of sale, they diminish greatly. And while it is difficult because they have a lot of money, as you said, in Montana this year, TikTok tried to put in a bunch of money fighting a ban of their social media platform in the state of Montana and lost that fight. I ultimately disagree with that decision, but money doesn't buy you everything in legislatures. And I think there's a path to beat Nintendo.
So how does this apply to games that perhaps are free? If I got League of Legends for free, do I still have a right to repair, or do they get to control it indefinitely because of some DRM contract nonsense?
Well, it depends what's in the contract when you purchase it. I know when you talk about Ferraris and Lamborghinis, when it comes to cars, there are stipulations about if you're the first owner, you can and cannot do certain things. But if you're looking back at an older game like Melee, that didn't exist. And I think this is what we're seeing also in the digital revolution. We're seeing the ways in which IP laws are being, as Fendy talked about, slowly absorbed into monopoly power. You see the way that Netflix takes over the movie industry a little bit, and then suddenly actors are not getting residuals the way that they used to be. This is an echo of that problem when it comes to digital games, and we need to fix it.
Yeah.
The short answer is we should just get behind Rivals 2. Love the way that Zane kind of leaked that out there, and we should just be throwing our support behind that. I'm stoked for that. It looks great, looks fun. I think that's our
So you're saying we're licking the wrong boot. We should still be licking boot, but the real play is to find the nice, juicy...
Dan Fornace's boot is more delicious.
Yeah. What happens when they depose Dan Fornace if they're not making enough money, right?
Jack.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Chroma.
I'm not going to win this episode, am I?
You're not going to win any episode if I have anything to do about it. Let's move on to our next topic. Several results came in hot from the past few weeks. S2J providing hope to Falcons by defeating Aklo at the Function 3, becoming King of New York. Spark defeated Zamu at Show Me Your Moves with a huge comeback in Game 5 of Set 2 of Grands. And Salt won net play for Palestine, defeating Curve. Has S2J successfully reset the hope timer on Captain Falcon Nation, or is this just more trickle-down optimism from Mr. Two Joints? Representative Zooey, did you recognize any of the names that I just laid out in this topic?
Not only did I recognize the names, I in fact watched the Grands between Aklo and S2J. And for me, like, I think it's always going to reset the hope timer because Falcon has sort of lived off of hope for as long as at least Bobby Scar's been around. But for me, it was more so a tale of Aklo feeling pressure is what it looked like. The commentators made comments on that throughout, but it looked like someone who was supposed to be King of New York, who felt for a moment maybe the crown was a little heavy.
That's very true. All right, Fendy, what do you think?
I just wish that I wish he had played like that when he was playing against Amsa when I had points on the line. And he looked like a man possessed, right? He looked unbelievable. And I think his like post-tournament tweet thread where he was like, I was really close to just kind of like hanging it up. And to use Representative Zephyr's point, like that hope timer like clearly is set back. And I think that's huge for everybody. It's been, I think, Salt, I think, has kind of like taken up that mantle since like Wizzy was out for a long time. Now he's kind of starting to come back in. I think like to see at this point, like the longest running successful Captain Falcon I think we've seen in our game to come back and still win a tournament like that in 2023 on the opposite coast, no less, in a place where Aklo has proven notoriously hard to beat. I think is really impressive. So I'm buying all my Johnny stock to see more Johnny stocks.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll talk. I mean, I love seeing Falcons do well, especially Salt, because I mean, I feel like there's kind of been a bounce back from, oh, Falcon's so hype and cool. Actually, Falcon's lame and just tech chases to, no, Falcon's so hype and cool. But like when S2J, after he won, it was like, it hadn't really set in, but when he sat down on the couch to do the post-tournament interview, that's when I realized, oh, I've actually never seen this before, because S2J said 2 consecutive sentences, and it was like hieroglyphics. I was like, I've never heard that. I've never heard him speak this much. So it's like, maybe he's done well at bigger regionals, but at a streamed event, I've never seen him do this well. And it's like, I hope it keeps happening, but who knows?
Yeah. If you've ever read his Twitlongers or like longer writing, he's a very gifted thinker and speaker. He just doesn't have a lot to say most of the time. Chroma.
Yeah, Johnny gets the game. I remember one time he wrote about coming to the Midwest and playing Kells and said, these were the worst sets of friendlies I've ever played in my life. He held down 95% of the time. I hated it. He won the majority of the games. Johnny knows the gremlins that are possibly going to destroy this game. And I think Zooey was excellent in pointing out the fantastic commentators, myself included, really captured the moment. What maybe you didn't see.
Zooey didn't know who you were, though, when we got into this call.
But that's the best testament of what I've done. That's the best part. Nobody's buttering me up. What I was going to say, you may not have seen the entirety of the post-game interview because we were having some stream issues, but I was asking Johnny specifically, like, how did you pick it up like that? How did you hit all those power shields? How did you get the reads? How did you just transcend to a different level of conscious thought? And he said, yeah, I don't know what I was doing. I was just gaming. And that is what keeps it alive. In a world where we think you have to be entirely like thinking mind, hyper optimized, anti-zen, like articulation, he showed us you can just get out there and ball. And that's what you need. Though there was some bad news. Zamu was on the verge of winning, up 3 stocks to 1 against Spark. Yep. And Spark won, which I thought was very mean to Girl Month. And I move that we formally censure Spark for that comeback.
Good news is we've already censored to France, and I don't know what the
Spark
milkshake
is in France. What greater punishment?
Yeah, that's true. All right.
He's going to spend some time there and think about what he's done.
Good.
Yeah, I agree, Fendy. Thank you for bringing that up. Let's move on to our next topic. To me, oh no, sorry, I'm not on that one. Scroll up. Motivated by the fear of Nintendo actually enforcing their no mods rules for tournaments starting the 15th, so yesterday, Coinbox had its last event on Tuesday featuring a $6,000 pot and somewhat deranged commentary from myself and the Chief. Hungrybox lamented that many top players never entered Coinbox, calling them, and I quote him, pussies, leading Zane to remind HBox of his 6-0 record against him and stating that he didn't enter due to, quote, a variety of reasons. To me, Coinbox was actually starting to grow in popularity and prestige as an important part of like regular Melee tournament action. What can we replace it with, if anything? And what have we lost with the end of Coinbox? Who wants to start?
I can take that.
Please.
Yeah. So like when I heard that Coinbox was ending, I was like, yeah, that's fantastic. Good. Because as far as I'm concerned, HBox is directly stealing money out of my pocket. Because every Tuesday, the biggest local in New England happens. And every other Tuesday when Coinbox happens, suddenly there's about $50 less in the pot from people going and joining his tournament online. Especially this last week, there's a $6,000 pot bonus. You know how many people came to New Game Plus in Boston? It was like 15. It's usually like 40. So I'll mourn the loss of Coinbox when HBox pays me out.
Okay. You never thought about competing yourself? You wanted the guaranteed money?
I fucking hate Slippy. I hate Slippy so much. It's fun. In tournament, it makes me so mad.
I think we're looking the wrong direction. You know, you can talk about Zane and not competing. But for me, I look back to, I mentioned this in the pregame. My first huge major that I went to was Paragon LA. Paragon LA was the tournament that Nintendo did the cease and desist on Project M. And that was also the last major that I traveled to. And I think about the people who loved going to Coinbox, who maybe aren't going out into paying into Bonfire's pocket, but who had a consistent source of Melee, who are now going to feel maybe they don't have that anymore. Maybe the spark goes away a little bit. And to me, that's a bigger loss than anything that could happen.
Very true.
As an employee for the company that made Coinbox possible, I am obligated to say that we are worse off. I understand why he had to do it because, again, we are dealing with the monopolistic, billion-dollar company that I would not want to.
Your billion-dollar company, which is based in cool.
Yeah, we're based in the U.S.
Yeah, great.
You want to buy some Coinbase stock? Feel free. That's all. Beside the point. I think also like an important thing to realize is that the last Melee Coinbox had like 850 something entrants, right? And like there's gonna be DQs and whatnot. Like in a vacuum, like that is one of the biggest Melee tournaments of all time. Like that is a huge tournament. And like getting people into the game, like I think for all of the fluff on the outside, that's something that like at its core, like not only did we give a handsome man a $6,000 tournament, I'm so happy for J-Mook. Like we also are getting people in on like a regular schedule. Like, yeah, Slippy tournament's not great. But like if the alternative is them, like if it's 30 people going, like an additional 30 people going to NGP, or if it's 300 additional people playing in Coinbox, like I'm taking Coinbox every time. So we just, unfortunately, we lose a big chunk of that. And I hope that people that were playing in the Coinboxes do ultimately go to their locals. Like that is what I think will be the big test of the people.
Let me put your feet to the fire. So why did Coinbase not use their money to fight for this tournament against Nintendo?
Why didn't you want to give out more money?
Sorry, this is a legal team. I can't answer that. I'm really sorry.
Okay.
What I want to pivot though, and I do want to say we talk about, you've got this monopolistic company. It's so hard to push back. It's actually not. Like, yeah, there's consequences and there's good, like HBox would face challenges, but to me, you have to lead with what you think is right. That is, to me, at the core of all of this. And if they're going to send the cease and desist or send a fight, then you react. Then you figure out what comes. But first, you can't bog.
So HBox certainly made it more of a, this is Team Liquid's call, and Team Liquid didn't want that smoke. So what I'm hearing is we're calling out Team Liquid. Get that smoke. What's going on? Chroma?
I will say I'm surprised by nobody. Team Liquid was 100% going to fold instantly. And I will say, Zane, Mango, you really thought they were entering Coinbox? There was currently a $150,000 COD tournament that Mango is a part of. He missed day one. He made up an excuse. He missed day two. He made up an excuse. He then revealed he had not only not downloaded the game, he did not plan to download the game for 4 days. And their team was winning, like a good shot at $150,000 across 4 people. They eventually benched him and put in Yingo, which I think was the smart move. Look, Coinbase definitely caused some
irreparable. So
irreparable.
sick.
Yeah, this is COD, I think.
Yeah,
That's short for Call of Duty, for those of you at home.
But what I was going to say is Bonfire Tori is absolutely right that Coinbase and Coinbox have done irreparable harm to the scene, but they did provide something that I really did like. If you ever entered a Coinbox and you had to play people from Bolivia or Colombia or, I don't know, Texas, all three evil places of ping, you're playing 150 ping matches over and over again. You have to wait for 2 hours because Juan's got to play his losers round 33rd match on stream. You're up till insane hours of the night and you got to play Sparks Marth. It caused so much psychic damage to top players in pain, and that's a good thing. We need that. Top players have grown too powerful.
It made them stronger.
I don't know how we will be able to... No, I don't care about them being stronger. I want them to be weaker. We need this. I don't know how we're going to be able to inflict such harm on top players in any sort of similar way in the future, and for that, I do salute Touchdown Juan.
Okay, salute him. All right, let's move on to our next topic. For me personally, I came to competitive Smash by way of wanting to add more characters to Brawl, and thus discovering Project M. How universal is this experience? If we were to compare, say, EVO 2013, the charity drive with MeleeItOnMe, versus Project M, versus the documentary, as which one is the biggest factor in the growth of the competitive Smash scene as we now know it? And you know what? Actually, I'm going to add in a fourth option for modernity's sake, which is Slippy during COVID.
Go ahead, I was going to say that. I'll
give you points. I'll give you points. You're right. Yeah.
But Slippy is by far, and it is like you could combine all people in the first three, and it's not even close to what Slippy has brought in. I think we're seeing a resurgence in locals. We're seeing a resurgence in attendance at big tournaments. And I think, a bunch of gamers that are locked up in their basement for a year and a half waiting for the pandemic to end are craving coming out to play, sweaty games of Melee in the same way that they were doing in 2013, 14. And as a Dot kid, I'm forever
a child
to Samox and the rest of the folks that put the documentary together. But I do think it's not even close. It's Slippy by a mile.
For you personally, it was the doc though over Project M or Evo? Okay.
You're gonna hate me for this, Representative Zephyr. I have never played PM.
Listen, I don't hate you. Everybody makes mistakes.
Right.
For me, Slippy, obviously, as Fendy's saying, is the right answer. But I think it also provides the ability to meet somebody at your skill level. You gave a lot of lists of when people came on. Actually went to a day one Brawl tournament. That was my first experience. After
the day the game was released?
The day the game was released, I went to my local. I was at college out to University of Washington in Seattle. And I was kicked butt at all my college dorms and proceeded to enter a Brawl and Melee tournament and get stomped by Eggs, Bladewise, and Silent Wolf until I dropped Melee like a hot rock. And I think for folks coming into Slippy, the ability to learn and have the bar be a little bit lower allows them not only to enter, as Fendy was saying, but stay in.
Yeah. I gotta say, all respect to the doc. Samox, I'm going to stop ghosting you for Tuesday Night Trivia in Queens one day. I'm so sorry. It's just past my bedtime. EVO 2013, undeniable. That's where I saw Koopa Troopa battle Mango in Mario Dittos, and now Koopa Troopa is the best player in the world. I gotta say, I think it's PM by a lot. I found the doc more interesting. I found EVO 2013 more interesting. I was somebody that watched Waffles combo videos or just any videos on the channel and just thought, that looks sick. I want to do it. But the reason I had people to play with is because PM dropped. And I'm not kidding. When I was in college and even grad school, 1 out of every 4 people I knew played PM. They thought it was the sickest thing imaginable. The amount of people that played PM was gigantic. I honestly thought it was going to subsume and destroy Melee. And I think we managed to cleave a couple people off that into Melee. And that's probably it, to be honest.
Yeah. I remember feeling that way too, that it was like we're going to reach this fork in the road, and of course PM would have to win in the eventual fight. Bonfire, what about you? What's your take here?
I joined around the time of the documentary, but it was actually because of the Melee games, which started in New England by Matt.Seb. And the college, just the colleges in the area, were doing crew battles, and so my college needed people, and they did science tryouts basically. and that's how I started. But I think like everyone around that time, it's so many of them don't play anymore. And as we said with like Slippy's retention rate, I think that's really, it obviously brings more people in total in, but also they can just keep playing from their own home. And if they're not ready to go to tournament yet, they don't have to, or if they want to, they can. But everyone who I used to like play with as I like the first 6 years of playing Melee, so I know like 5 that still play in actual locals competing.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think the Slippy kids are going to last longer just because they can play at home.
You are extremely right, and it's like rewiring my brain that like the assumptions that were baked into this question because I wrote it are just like not true anymore. That like 80% of the people I'm running into
you
are
love getting the information and changing your predisposed notions.
It's very sad to me because I've been playing Slippy all day and I hate these people.
Yeah,
I feel hate in my heart when I'm in a bad mood.
Do worry about that. I want to say the first time that I heard of Tori was when I heard of the Legend of Bonfire 20.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
which was
Melee games.
I think it's 5v5 4-stock siege. I think you beat an entire team losing 1 stock.
No, I didn't lose any stocks. That's why it's a 20 stock.
That's the point.
Yeah, it's not 19.
It's Bonfire 20.
Yeah, it was 20 actually. Yeah. My introduction to Bonfire 10 was reading the tag. Excuse you, Bonfiero. Because I couldn't read the tag correctly with the font, and so my brain just made it up.
And you were corrected twice by your co-commentator on 2 different sets. You just kept saying it.
Well, Bonfiero is a better tag than Bonfire 10. I apologize for that. Let's move on to our next topic. Last weekend, many people participated in Net Play for Palestine, and many more donated to raise, at the writing of this topic, over $17,000 for the Middle East Children's Alliance. The Melee community has a long history with charity events, which are now soft banned by Nintendo, as a way to organize ourselves into something useful for society. What are other ways that we could make ourselves useful? How could the engagement of Smashers make change in the real world? Yes, Chroma.
I'm scared that Jake wants to go first.
I've been reading a lot about some of the German progressive movements of immigrants who moved here in about the 1800s, 1900s. Their plan was to come here, drink a bunch of beer, work out together, have a great time, and protect Abraham Lincoln with their lives, and just get strong and powerful and became a political force for good in this country. I really don't see why we can't get this into Melee. Melee players are just some of the most degenerate grinders I've ever seen. Put them in the gym, put them to work, and we will make a paramilitary force that I'm sure will do something good. Let's not ask any questions about it.
We're getting really at soft power at the beginning. Now we're flexing hard power partway through. It's really just Chroma's got it all.
You gotta get it all in there.
First off, really happy to see the Palestine event go on. Very happy to see a group of people pushing for care and empathy in a moment where it feels like we've lost a lot of that. For me, where people can get involved, I say this whether you're a Melee player or not, it's the local. It's we talked about Bonfire saying, people going to Coinbox and losing out on the locals. If you're staying and completing in your local, you're building community that way. If you're building community in your city hall or school boards or just standing up in your place of work for the things that you believe in, that is how change gets made. And you can do that even by bringing up the conversation about Nintendo and IP law and connecting it the way we've been talking about. Shifts public opinion, and eventually the paradigm shifts as well.
Shouldn't have had Jake go first, but shouldn't have gone after Zooey. That was a mistake. Because I think what she said was,
fucked it.
Yeah, she was very on point. I think, and this is maybe something as a 30-year-old that I'm like happy to see, like something that I genuinely derive the most joy of any of my relationships in Melee is seeing the people that I at one point only knew for their Falco on FD or for how hard they spiked a controller, like actually going on to do amazing things, whether that's going to work for a multi-billion-dollar asset manager in New Jersey or becoming a father if you're like Tafo. Like that is something that matters a lot to me. And I think something that, again, just as over the course of time that Melee players have gotten better at is like, how do you see the exit ramp off and continue to like to use the representative's point, like the passion that you have for Melee, it can't possibly be the only thing that you have that level of passion for. Whether it is something as simple as your friends and family, or if it's something as exciting as housing policy, there's a huge wavelength. And I think that we can't play we, as in the 5 of us on the screen, can't play Melee forever. And you could try, but you're not going to be. I mean, maybe you're booting up Slippy when you're 65, probably not. But everybody's going to have a point that you exit this community. And I think that we have gotten so much better at doing it gracefully. And I personally am thrilled. Again, I derive so much joy from folks in Melee exiting Melee and still being the same passionate and successful people that they were in the game.
Very well said, except that one part. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, so I want to actually tie what Fendy and Chroma said. Chroma was talking about Smash players as grinders, as really going in and doing grinding, and Fendy talking about the off-ramp. To me, the off-ramp's not finding a new passion. It's also carrying the lessons that you learned from Melee. I had a lecture at Hampshire College last month where one of the questions I got was, what did you learn from your time playing Smash? And one of the things that I said was, you learn, whether it's Smash or any other high-level competition, you learn to have a short memory for wins and losses, to build small improvements moment by moment, and to be ready for what comes next. And to me, those are the types of lessons where if you do take an off-ramp and you do decide to go to housing policy, I know as a representative, you get wins some days, you get real hard losses, and sometimes they're within minutes of each other. And you need to have a short memory if you're going to succeed, and I know Melee players have that.
Yes, I can't remember what the score is in any given set that I commentate at once we're in the game after the one before.
You're ready for politics.
Yeah, there you go. Bonfire, what do we got?
I mean, so what everyone said is right, but I think it's kind of not in the spirit of the question where you were saying, what can the Melee community do? And I do agree with what we've said, but the answer is to become normal people and contribute to society. It's not really through Melee. You might learn things from Melee, but I don't know, the average Melee player right now is hard to even get to go to a local, much less a rally or some other type of passion. And I think that they need to, as you said, exit Melee and become just actually contributing members of society. You can do them both together, but then that's not really doing it through Melee. That's just 2 different hobbies you have. But
how do we get the Slippy kids out the door?
Yeah,
streaming's a $1 billion industry. You can partake in that and then go lobby people at your state legislatures or local governments about streaming laws.
I'm not accepting any endorsements of Hassan or Destiny, as lobbyists on this particular episode.
Oh, they would be such bad lobbyists. Don't even get me started. As a professional lobbyist, it would be such bad lobbyists.
Yeah. By the way, if you want to, do you have any more conflict of interests that you'd like to disclose here?
No, that's it.
Okay, just the one. All right. Let's move on to our next topic. It kind of links in to what a little bit of what everybody was saying. This is from Patreon subscriber Klobby. Klobby's topic suggestion was, who is the Smasher with the best chance of following Zooey's footsteps and building a career in politics?
That's an easy one for me. Mm-hmm. It's Vish.
Oh,
it's Vish. I think you want people first to have that sort of populist appeal, who are going to dress sharp and look the part, because a lot of times it's the way you look when you walk in the room. It's the confidence you carry, and not just in a I look good sort of way, because we know Vish is a handsome devil, but it's also, can you rock the suit? Can you talk the talk? Commentators have an ability to talk that talk. I think you're inherently leaning towards commentators. And I've seen Vish grind. I commentated with him at Northwest Majors way back in the day, and dude's come hell far.
Yeah.
So
that's a great answer. Go ahead.
I don't think that you do need all that. I think that having being able to give good public presentations and speeches is fine if you're trying to get people to vote for you who know what they're talking about. Maybe they're the Democratic side. But I think we're ignoring the other half, where I think no fluxes would be just phenomenal.
That's such a good answer.
As a conservative politician.
Yeah.
I think he's got the woke mob has canceled me bit. And they always need, token minorities to, preach what they want. Right. So I think that would work out great. He even has a history of being super weird towards kids and babies, and that seems like that's on brand
right
for the conservative platform. So I think he would be a great pick.
Okay,
I
yeah.
have one as well.
Yeah?
and I'm just going to go just broad-based popularity here, and the easy answer for me was Ludwig, because Ludwig has millions of subscribers and followers already. Like, he has the infrastructure built in to be a successful politician, and he's also, like, in my opinion, he's one of the like really, really, really popular streamers that's not dedicated to politics in the way that like Hassan and Destiny are, that has used his platform for good. So I think
he doesn't
Lud
have the
has
stink of being a pundit.
right. And so I think Lud, like, again, to like, he can look sharp. He's got charisma oozing out of every orifice. He has a huge base already built up. Like, I think that, and he also lives in California. He runs as a Democrat. It's game over, right? He put the D next to his name, and he's going to win. He could win in any district outside of Kevin McCarthy's. Like, he could go into some of these, like, Orange County Republican districts, and if he was like, I'm running, it would be over.
You think he could beat some Republican incumbents in Orange County? Those who are left?
For sure. He could jump in the next primary whenever Alex Padilla hangs it up for Senate, and he would immediately be one of the front runners in California.
That's actually not a bad idea.
He's sitting on like millions of dollars of personal money, and like, money does help you win elections. Not the end all be all, but it certainly helps.
Okay. Chroma, what kind of deranged things will you say that make me afraid for my future?
I grew up in New Jersey, and I met a series of extremely beloved, extremely Italian state representatives. And basically every single one of them walked and talked and carried themselves exactly like the Crimson Blur. The Crimson Blur will be a deeply beloved warlord that will probably maybe destroy a municipality or two, but will eventually find himself into the state Senate and then the Supreme Court just based off of vibes. I do know this. People think that it's Mango. Mango just will not put in the hours to do this. He will not have it happen. Juan is probably going to goof it. He just does not have that George Santos swag at the end of the day. I just don't see it happening. The person who has a surprising amount of doctrine that I catch them spitting all the time is, in fact, Wally. I will not elaborate.
Wally? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Wally. Let's move on to our next topic. Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 is being released. That's kind of hard to say. They should think about that. And they paid many top players to try it out. Is this the non-melee platform fighter that will stick? Or do we wait for LeBron in multiverses? Or is Rivals 2, which just had its kind of launch crew battle, the one to look for? Will anything work to get melee players to play a second game?
Yeah, Rivals has always been the best. Even when it came out years ago, the first one, everyone loved it, and it like maybe not have as much staying power, but it had more than everything else. And I didn't know that top players got paid to kind of promote NASB 2 to like play it on stream. I figured though that they definitely got paid to lie about how much they like it. I think that's really interesting. How it's fucking terrible, and everyone seems to love it. It's crazy, even in comparison to the first one, which wasn't great. But the first one had crazy combos, at least, because you could dash down with aerials. Everyone was like a double jump canceling Yoshi. And there were 0-to-death combos within a week of its release. And NASB 2 is like, oh, you get 3-hit combos and people float away. And you use slime to not die to blast zones, and everyone lives forever. And it's just the brawl of NASB 1. I don't get it. Rivals 2 gaps it, and I haven't even played it.
I think
brawl is in the name, right? It's like that's the whole point. I have not played any of these games, so I'm strictly coming in from the spectator perspective, which is I 100% agree with Tori, and that Rivals is like fun and to watch too. And like Mango, when he was streaming Rivals 1 playing Raster, like that actually had me watching the game. And I think nothing that NASB has done so far, and definitely nothing that Multiverse has done so far, has brought me the same amount of like just how much I care about watching it. Like how much
Who would be your LeBron? Where like if they put this person in the game, you would play it, and they have to be like how they have LeBron from Space Jam 2: A New Legacy.
Maybe LeBron from what's the movie with Amy Schumer and Bill Hader?
Doesn't have to be LeBron. All right, never mind. This died.
I don't know. That's a really good question. I think if they put keeping it in, if they put like any famous Philadelphia sports athlete, then I would pick up the game. Like if they put in Jalen Hurts or if Bryce Harper was out there hitting people with a baseball bat, like count me in. I'm in there.
When they put Steven Universe in Brawlhalla, I downloaded, I paid up, and then I haven't played it since. Groma.
Yeah, I think Tori's absolutely right, Naspy, to notoriously astroturfed. I do take all of my opinions in life from Anthony Slime Bruno, and he said he wanted to keep playing it until he smacked Shake Zurzel's skull open and drank his brain, which I think really bodes very well for the game. You don't have to be a furry. It's just deeply encouraged, and Melee players are mostly there. As far as characters that I would hope to add to the game, as long as they don't add Puff, I think I'd be pretty happy at the end of the day, and we'd all have a good time. Dan Fornace will kill me at one point, but I'm willing to accept that at the end of the day. It will make Wisely happy, and I think that's great for Wisely. Will anything work to get Melee players to play a second game? I'm going to keep it real with you, Chief. No.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that the point of that question, as you said, is it's going to be hard to get Melee players off of this. And as we've talked about, Fendy mentioned, none of them have really shown the staying power so far. Rivals was the closest. I do think it has a variety in movement options that I found enjoyable when I picked it up initially when it came out, that I think gives it the best shot. And I don't think it needs some well-known character. I actually think I'm encouraged by the fact that they are rejecting that and saying, hey, we're going to tell a story. We're going to stay away from this the All-Stars Brawler multiverses sort of, can we ping a celebrity that might pull the Melee community away? I don't think that's the route to go.
I will say quickly, the clip of Cake Assault doing the Garfield wave shine or whatever, that was fucking sick. Like, I didn't even know that was possible. That was sick.
I mean, these are the things. I mean, ultimately, I feel like those games are designed around the premise. Garfield just did a wave shine, and everything else is a little bit of a gimmick.
Imagine saying that sentence in any year before 2023.
Garfield just said that it was a skin for Melee. I can make a fox skin that looks like Garfield. It's not that hard.
I will say, Rivals 2 has a huge advantage because they do have a Mango-esque figure, which is Cake Assault, who is, by all accounts, very dope and also plays a shit ton of Melee. Cake Assault could be top 100 if he wanted to in the next year.
Yeah. Okay. I'm hoping that, my hope is Rivals 2 becomes this like new PM space in the scene. And not that PM is dead, but in the sense that there used to be a huge amount of overlap between Melee players and PM players at the same event. And I'm hoping that Rivals 2 gets a little bit of that back, because that was always a fun time.
Armado won a PM tournament my first tournament ever. He won PM. It was super sweet. 2014. He won both. He won Melee and PM.
Yeah, he played a character with a better turnip, basically.
Yeah, it was broken. I do know that.
At Genesis 10, they're going to have it. They reached the 400K goal, so they're doing a Rivals tournament. Rivals 2.
God bless furries.
We'll see. Let's move on to our next topic. Going back into the legal zone. Several Redditors have taken to grabbing match videos from tournament streams and uploading them on their own channel. What are the ethics here? Is it only bad if it reduces revenue for events? Or is it really any different from unofficial co-streams that top players often do at big events?
So, as someone who did used to use Reddit, but went back before, like right when RSSBM was established as the kind of like, going to take it more seriously than our Smash Bros. It was a great way to like get a lot of the information on like pools results and clips that before, like Twitter was obviously big, but it was a good way to like immediately catch up on the results of a big tournament. Now, I think it is different. I think it is across the board bad. I think it's easy.
To be clear, Fendy, it is a Redditor posting it on YouTube. It's Sunny Saigon is taking matches from tournaments and then just posting them on their stream.
I think that's bad. I think that's wrong, and I think it derives like a lot of the hard effort from the streamer, from the like players that like. I guess maybe not the players, like they don't give a shit. You're not thinking about who's restreaming at a certain point when you're in the middle of a set. But I do still think it is bad. I think it's like there's a reason why tournaments have to like you have to specifically request and gain restream approval, and to do that without approval.
Yeah, what's that reason?
The reason is like if you wanted to, especially in the era of monetizing YouTube, if you wanted to make money off of a Smash tournament, you should run a Smash tournament. You should not be benefiting the profits off of the backs of others that are, the JDs of the world, the Junas of the world, these people that like, the Gimmers of the world. It's just wrong. I think it's wrong. I don't know. That's just me.
I don't know if they're doing it for money though. I mean, I think it might be the convenience of just they want the. I think it's bad too, but I don't think that's their motive. Because I think if you want, if you want to, if you're gonna steal like content for money in terms of just like VODs, I feel like there's way better, more popular esports to do that with than Melee. I think they are genuinely like interested in Melee, and they want the videos to be up sooner or to just have like their Reddit post or whatever. But I think that they should be focusing on something else if it's for money, because they shouldn't run a tournament either. That doesn't get them money.
If we had a blanket agreement that if they restreamed or not restreamed or like uploaded or whatever, and they demonetized, if they did it purely out of the goodness of wanting to share more Melee with everybody and do it for quickness, I would be more okay with that.
You prefer unpaid labor.
It still takes the money away from the tournament organizers, so I still don't like it.
Well, it takes away the money, assuming that the audiences have one-to-one overlap.
I mean, any amount of overlap is if anyone who's viewing that video instead of the other video is taking away views. That's all there is to it.
Zoe?
I will. Sorry, go, Karma. I'll rock it.
No, that's right.
Okay, good. So for me, you can talk about the ethics of it, but it's also something you kind of just have to live with. Like, whether you're watching like a major sports game, like those are being restreamed on YouTube as well. They crop up because some people don't have access to it, or some people would prefer to watch it, as Bonfire said, through their own channel. Some people are definitely, I disagree, some people are definitely trying to use it to monetize. And yeah, there's an inherent ethics problem from there. It does take away money from people, but it's the cost of the game. That's a thing that we have to live with, unfortunately. You can't come down with an iron hammer while turning up and saying Nintendo's being unfair, Nintendo's being unfair. You kind of have to live with both.
We could, however...
We become Nintendo when we do this. Yes,
right. And we could, however, be hypocrites. And I think we should encourage and be interested in that. I will say, I think there's kind of a rule. Melee Stats does preserve some videos just in case. For example, MLG Anaheim is gone. A lot of people will remove their channels. We will have backups just in case for this situation. I think if you're at a spot where a tournament hasn't uploaded a VOD that's available in let's say, maybe a week, maybe it's kind of fair game, and you still have to take it down if people ask. I will say this, Sunny Saigon, you got to stop doing the cringe thumbnails. You got to stop being weird about women. This is not good vibes, and I don't like it. It's not fun. And if you think Mewtwo King is being kidnapped, we need to see more evidence of this. Everyone in the daily threads knows about this one. We have to do something about this.
Who is this person? Who's Sunny Saigon?
Oh man,
sort of ne'er-do-well, mixed
but I want to go
certainly.
away from the easy target of Sunny Saigon. I want to go to Touchdown Juan. This is annoying to me, and I will say this: it is super annoying that Juan will restream not asking permission, because I will say this: top players have the game entirely pimped. Every TO is like, we just need them to ask. Maybe they pay us, probably not. We just need metrics so we can meet deliverables and show some sponsors some KPIs on engagement. And like, all you have to do is ask. It is not hard. And yeah, we did roast Juan when he restreamed it, and we knew he restreamed it, and we hard called it. And Zane was like a rabid dog, uncaged, going in about that room in the Gators. And you know what? Good.
Can I also just make a quick plug? If
you can,
anybody can upload the Xanadu 2017 All Arcadian, I will pay them as much money as they want. Those VODs have been lost to time, and it happens to be the Arcadian that I won, and it was conveniently disappeared. So I will happily take the slings and arrows from Gimmer if someone can find those VODs and upload them today.
I also would like to look into the camera and tell Sunny Saigon to stop being so lazy and get all of the sets that I did at the Big House side stream instead of just the couple that you think are big. How about if you know, a little more work, a little less whining, huh?
Fendi, did you beat Zane at that Arcadian?
No, absolutely not. Zane won the Arcadian like 2 Arcadians before I did. One of them lifetime though.
Who did you beat?
That is true.
I beat Silence, whose wife's little brother in Grands. I beat Liquid in Losers Finals, and I beat who else I beat on my way there?
Bunch of who's of Melee, really. All right. Well,
I love
you
the tournament.
move
That's all I
on.
care about.
Yeah. Well, you move. Well, we're going to move on to our next topic. Arca Melee, did I pronounce that right? Number 4 is this weekend in Lyon, France. Nobody's stopping me. Yeah, and we'll feature Cody, Schwab, Aklo, Moki, Pipsqueak, Spark, Jmook, as well as tons of European talent like Triff, Professor Pro, and Frenzy. Let's do this simple. Who is going to win, and will this event radicalize top players into taking public transit instead of Ubers at majors?
Jack, no. I watched Fiction take an Uber from like Brooklyn to the Brooklyn venue. There is nothing we can do to get them to take public transport. We cannot do it. We will not succeed. I will say the bracket looks a little bit rigged for my man Faust. Faust is 6th seed. 3rd seed is Jmook. The 11th seed is someone in Europe. And we all know that Europe is bad. And we'll all lose to Hoborg, except for Triff, who will tie with Hoborg. If Hoborg was there, Hoborg would win. And that's really what we should focus on right now. Is there a way we can get Hoborg, beautiful tall man, out there? He got 13th at the function, hitting 11 misfires in one set versus Yokai Nels. That's the kind of American greatness we can count on in these trying times.
That's what Joe Biden promised us when he was restoring the soul of America. Okay. Anybody else? Who do you think is going to win?
I gotta jump in on the whole public transit thing first and foremost, which is there is a path for it, and it's make it free. That's how you get it to happen. You got to have the convenience be so heavy that it outweighs the convenience of taking the transit itself. Money talks in the end, in politics and in our transportation. As for who wins, I got to go with Cody. For me, maybe I'm just a little bit grumpy after watching his loser run and just trampling over my boy Amsa. But I think in the end, I think he'll go to France. He'll claim the victory and come back with the white flag.
I think we're all transit pilled in that we all live in some of the best cities in America that have public transit, right? We live in New York, we live in Boston, we live in DC. I mean, I can't personally speak to the public transit in Missoula, Missouri, or Montana, excuse me.
Missoula, Montana, and Missoula, Montana has 100% free public transit.
I this is the first argument for free transit, which is, it has its pros and cons, but the biggest pro that I've ever heard is it could get the gamers who don't like thinking potentially to take a bus. Yeah.
They also cannot drive. None of them have licenses.
Yeah, none of them could drive. And so I think
that's very good.
We either need to bring all the gamers into cities and towns with excellent public transit, or we need to, in a better world, we bring public transit to the gamers. I don't think, as someone who's ridden like the Parisian metro, it's like really nice, and it's not like a life-changing experience in the same way that, I don't know if you've ever been lucky enough to, for example, go in like the Singapore, like that. Like there are levels again. Like Singapore's public transit was insane. Trains running every 2 minutes on time perfectly. Like it's the paragon of what we should aspire to. And like Paris isn't going to do that. Like candidly, like going in the Paris public transit system is not going to radicalize any smashers to like suddenly take up, lobbying Pete Buttigieg for a quicker expansion of public transit. So I think Jmook's going to win.
Okay, perfect. So we need to have a tournament hosted in Singapore to really radicalize these gamers. Okay. Bonfire, what do you think?
Yeah, I've only taken public transportation once at a major, and it was, I think, Gommel. Gommel I went to, and I went on a bus that they said takes me to the hotel that I was staying at, and then it took me to the wrong hotel. What the heck?
Did you read the signs?
Yeah, no, apparently it was the same named hotel, just at a different place.
Okay, well,
so that's my bad.
That.
Yeah, but the thing is, but the thing is, Ubers are faster. I can just say, come get me Uber, and then it take me there. And it's not waiting around for 30 minutes.
Oh,
it's faster.
You take the Uber in San Jose?
I don't know. I got money. I'm a software developer. I'm fine.
She did win NGP. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, NGP has paid way more for that.
Yeah, but there was a huge coin box, so can she really afford the Uber? That's what we're...
That's right.
I bet Jmook's Ubering right now. I bet he's using his coin box winning right now in Paris, Ubering around.
Jmook wouldn't Uber. He would listen.
I would sit my ass down in the Uber.
Anyway, Cody's probably going to win because he's the best player.
Yeah.
Well, Jmook is, but he plays Sheik, unfortunately. So...
I am getting word that Justice gave Jmook the pass.
I don't know what
It's
that means in this context. Let's move on to our next
You
topic.
do.
Lots of banned players imply a legal right to go to tournaments and invoke legal sounding arguments in their tirades against TOs. How legitimate
sounding.
are these complaints? Does the law say I can't throw someone out from my tournament because I don't like them?
Yeah, we're
Love
in the
or
same.
zero?
No.
I can't tell what this is. I saw a
Oh.
heart and a zero.
Big zero. Big zero.
Tournament organizers should be able to kick anybody out of their tournaments for any reason. Gaming is not a right. It is a privilege. It's something that I have been super vocal and passionate about my entire time in Smash. If you are annoying, I think a TO should be able to kick you out. If a TO doesn't like the way you smell, they should be able to kick you out. If a TO is scared by how much you can bench, they should be able to kick you out. I think TOs should have the ultimate right. If they see Chroma walking in there ready to put up 225 10 times in a row, and they're like, I'm not about this life, they should be able to kick Chroma out. I think it is well within their rights as the tournament organizer to protect the sanctity of the event. And that is up to an extreme amount of discretion for the tournament organizers that ultimately, like, unless you are Mana Lord and you are the worst TO, like I love our TOs because they have the best interests of their communities and their events in mind, and I think we should give them all the authority in the world to do whatever the fuck they want.
Shout out again. I agree with Fendy. I actually think there's two instances that they get the right to do so. One is the TOs who, as Fendy was saying, echo every single point. They're the hard workers. They're the ones who should be able to establish who can and cannot be in the tournament. But also the venue itself has a right to decide who gets to be there and not if you're damaging property or a threat some way. The restriction is, of course, federal, state, and municipal policy when we talk about non-discrimination ordinances and various things like that. There are certain things you can and cannot exclude somebody for, but by and large, TOs can and should flex their discretion as they see fit.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything that's been said, but I just want to say there was a tweet a few months ago of a Roy player down tilting a Samus on Dreamland, and then the Samus using her down B move to stall out the clock and win on time with no possible way of the Roy attacking. Mm-hmm. And people were talking about arguing, is this stalling or not? I think the TO has a right to kick someone out even if they don't like the way they're playing. And I don't think we need black and white rule sets for this. I don't think that everything has to be a rigid rule that can be defined. I think the TO should be able to look at that set and say, what the fuck are you doing? Get out of here. I 100%.
So who's going to defend the people here?
I'm going to defend the people here. When we talked about, the reason why I think the right to your intellectual property gets hugely buffered at the point of sale. I also think for people who paid to enter a tournament, they paid saying we're going to adhere to a certain set of rules. If those rules aren't clear or lay out something and they are sticking within those rules, they should not be punished. And that's where we come to just basic social graces. If that person who's probably doing that isn't going to go more far than 1 and 2, 2 and 2 maybe you don't let them back in the next time. But
they can get their money back. They'll get their money back, but DQ.
I am at this time reminded of Ken losing to Taj at his weekly or bi-weekly or whatever it was, and supposedly banning Taj and perhaps forward from entering again. Was this based? Perhaps. Was this maybe, did he have the people's will with him? Did he have the mandate of the heavens? Not really. I think TOs, when they're at their best, clearly articulate what's acceptable and not. If it's reasonable, warnings are good. If it's just like, you are just ruining this shit, that's fine too. And I think those are the TOs that really have the hearts and minds of the people that come to their tournament. It's something that makes the TOs great. And people like Monolord, who kicked out NoFlux's opponent, who beat him because he thought it was a Smurf, some Mickey Mouse fraud TO that nobody can respect.
Okay. Love Mickey Mouse. Let's move on to our next topic. Pitch your current state of residence as the host of a new major.
Ooh.
Yes, Fendy.
All right. So, imagine you're flying in, you're coming in for a Smash major. On the left of the, look at the left side of the plane, there's the United States Capitol. Look at the right side of the plane, there's the Washington Monument. You are coming to the hub and the home of democracy.
January 6th.
It's January 6th. There are no Smashers here, potentially on January 6th. Salami, who's already here on January 6th, he's coming back. It's almost the anniversary. But anyway, Washington, D.C. has everything that, practically, that you could ask for to host a major. It has amazing stuff to do outside of the tournament. It has huge, spacious venues, and they're very expensive. But assuming that you have this, Ludwig-style benefactor who can front the cost for this major, you have huge convention spaces in the heart of downtown. You have public transit. So again, we get transit, we get gamers on transit that actually works. And you also have like this, I love DC. You have this vibrant food and lifestyle. Like, again, one of my favorite things to do, and why Big House is so passionate, like it's such a big passion project of mine, even though I didn't go this year, is like getting people to explore places that they've never been. And I would gander that because there hasn't actually, like the last major that DC hosted was Pound, back at the Ritz Carlton in Tyson's Corner, Virginia, which is not DC. And like the fact that they're doing this in-person coin box on the Ultimate side in DC makes me insanely jealous, because all I have, like, SmashCon is close, but Dulles is like, and Chantilly is the middle fucking nowhere.
Not
right?
DC.
It's not DC. It's not DC. So bringing it into DC to show people like the heart of our country, our capital. Like, I need it to happen. I'm done. But
Okay.
DC is the best place for a major.
I give you this 20-second timer, and you blast through it every friggin' episode. All right.
This is easy.
On fire. What state? How? Pitch New Hampshire for me.
Dude, I don't know. Remember like how everyone loved Shine? It was great. It was in Boston. It was right on the ocean side. It was fucking awesome. It was on the bay. And then we moved it to Worcester. And then people stopped going. And now it's dead. We could do it in New Hampshire. And it's like that, but farther away. Fuck, okay. I don't know, dude. You get to play me and Calvar.
Chrome is gone. Whoa. All right.
Whoa.
Representative Zoe, what do you got?
I was going to pitch. I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't pitch my community in Missoula, Montana. I think the capital's great. People get it. But Missoula brings a handful of really special things. First off, we talked about transit. 100% free public transit. Secondly, you host this event on the first weekend of a month. Missoula runs First Fridays. Every Friday evening, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m., free drinks on every business on the main drag. Free beer. So you got people coming in, enjoying the hell out of it, having a good time. All the pre-games happening here. Phenomenal. Do it in the summer, you get to float the river, and Montana's got the best tourism slogan in the country. Get lost. Get lost in Montana, then get the hell out.
This beer pitch
I have
is...
one question for these esteemed representatives. How do you get to Missoula from, let's say, Columbus, Ohio?
Columbus, Ohio, you would take the airline. You would take a plane.
You can fly direct from Columbus to Missoula?
Columbus to Missoula? Maybe. It might route you through Minnie, but it's probably direct. Columbus is pretty close.
Mm.
DC, you can't get there because we don't want DC coming up to Montana. So if you've been trying to fly, we make it like 3 legs so that you stay the hell away from us.
You've been owned. Crumba?
I will say this. You're not going to have a problem getting here. Imagine if we could have CEO, let's make big moves, some other warm tournament, but perhaps not in Daytona Beach. Consider the wonderful Jersey Shore. We rebuilt it after Sandy. It's not bad anymore. It is surprisingly nice. There are a lot of breweries and hotels and a warm ocean, not like California, which is freezing all the time. A huge amount of players are within a very, very short amount of distance here. Tri-State is as strong as ever. Newark, extremely convenient to fly into. You could come into JFK and LaGuardia. You could take a ferry over. Have a fantastic time. Jersey is coming back.
Very good.
So, Crowd, can you tell me where in New Jersey are we? Where in New Jersey are we hosting this major?
Asbury Park.
Oh my god.
Asbury Park's so nice
well,
now. It's
Fendy, you got to use the infinite budget glitch. Also, I'm going to retroactively give Bonfire a lot of points because Bonfire, you're right. New Hampshire sucks.
There's nothing here.
Yeah.
We go to Boston.
As somebody who's been dating somebody from Vermont for now many years, this is confirming many of my prior beliefs that I've been informed of. Let's move on to our final topic before the tiebreaker. Should Leffen be ranked in the SSBM rank? He's gone to 3 events, I believe. One of them, and it feels like we'd be a little lonely without him. Should Leffen be ranked?
Absolutely. 3 events, and also has won Evo. He won Evo. You give it to him. He won Evo. That is enough. He won the Ludwig thing, right? He's fine. He's good representation. We need him.
Jack, you're a ballot guy. I couldn't rank him in good conscience. It'd be too hard. It's not enough data. I think he's still great, but you just can't. You can't rank someone off of 3 tournaments over a 12-month period. So my answer is no.
I'm with Fendy. You wouldn't rank Jordan's basketball ranking while he's off baseball, So props to Leffen. Crushed Evo looks phenomenal, but not enough data points. I think if you rank it, it is going to be nostalgia ranking.
Zoe, who is that?
Very good. Chroma, what's your take?
Who is that? Hold on one sec. I do have a spicy take.
That's Lilith.
Hello,
This is Lilith. Hi,
Yes.
Lilith.
Oh.
You are worth many points.
Okay.
That's not fair.
My answer here, a couple questions. Could Leffen be ranked? Absolutely. I'm a balloter. I am very powerful. We have had harder things before. We've ranked Mewtwo King in that 1 year he did nothing. We rank Plup every year. We could do it. Should we do it? Folks, top players are quiet quitting. Zane and Cody are not trying to go to anything anymore. They've decided the year's over, and they've decided that they're tied. Oh, please, come on. Come on.
In France.
Come on.
Mickey Mouse.
He's not in
How do you
Paris.
say Mickey Mouse in French?
Cody's not in Paris. I will say this. They're agitating. They're getting weird with it. They're constantly complaining about the rankings. But do you know what the only thing anybody can talk about in this scene? When Salt won that tournament in Texas, like the Waco not uprising, all Blur and Cody could talk about on stream and all the chat could talk about is whether that made Salt top 10. Who cares?
Top 12.
Look at the melee. A top player told me at Function that they were thinking about boycotting the rankings for some reason if they didn't get their way. And it's like, you can't boycott it. We're giving you a number. That's how it goes. So should we rank Leffen? Should we rank anybody? No. They don't deserve this. Ambi and Wheat work way too hard to put up with this bullshit. I hope you guys enjoy this because Mo and I were talking about Drug Fox. Now, Drug Fox might be best at Street Fighter compared to Melee. And I said, well, he was top 10 in Melee. And he's like, well, he's top 30
I don't know
in
what
Street
you're talking
Fighter.
about anymore.
Hold on, I'm getting there.
Okay.
Top 30 in Street Fighter, he said, is much more impressive than top 10 in Melee, but I don't know who the top 30 Street Fighter person is. I do know who the top 72nd person in Melee is, and it's because of the rankings.
Who is it? Say it.
Oh, I don't know.
Get owned.
It wasn't Shabo.
Oh, come on. You've been owned. You've been owned.
It can be known, and I think we should not know anymore. There should be no rankings.
Okay. No more rankings. Ranking anarchy. And that leaves a power vacuum for Blur Rank 2 to come and fill that void. All right. That has been our regular topics. We are out of topics. I don't got any more to talk about except for our tiebreaker. Obviously, and this was not intentional, Representative Zoe is far ahead of the field. I'm still going to play the tiebreaker because if she really screws it up, then I will, with no hesitation, make her lose the episode. But for the rest of you, you are definitely competing for second or hoping for a self-destruct here. Our tiebreaker is voting worthwhile or liberal virtue signaling? All these people on my timeline telling me to vote, and nothing friggin' changes. So is voting worthwhile or liberal virtue signaling? Anybody can take it first.
It's what
I can't be funny with this. Someone else go.
You can't be funny with it? All right, then you go first.
No. Of course you should vote. Of course voting is important. Voting is the bedrock of our democracy. It's like the single greatest right that is given to all of us. I think that, how do I put this delicately? Like, apathy for your political system is crushing, and I think people who have the right to vote and opt not to execute on that right are doing a disservice to those that have had their rights marginalized or been, stripped, whether through like a poll tax or through, the law, like certain laws that are passed to prevent rehabilitated felons from voting, like in Florida, for example, are, again, even if you live in California and you're like, like Dems, like all of us on the screen, and you think your vote doesn't matter, every single vote matters. And I think that not voting is a huge disgrace. So I will take the somber tone and let Jake fill it with nonsense.
Yeah.
All right.
Tiebreakers on this show, famously emotional and earnest. I love it. I love it. Thank you.
I'm ready.
Who wants to go next? Let's go Chroma 09. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people get polarized on the specifics of the presidential election or even the primaries. And what you got to know is that there are a lot of elections out there that most people are not paying attention to. I had some assembly women that tried to basically introduce like a smear the queer bill, and they won by like, I don't know, 500 votes in a constituency of, 50,000. And it ruled watching them lose. It ruled. State, the school board. That gets decided by like 30 votes. And they're insane, some of them. You have to use your smasher instincts to actually dig into their social media and find out that they're trying to teach like both sides of the Holocaust or something like that. And you can make a big impact there more than I think voting, like running. There is somebody in chat right now who is responsible for a Kennedy not being elected. And I think also our host. I think we're 2-0 against Kennedys.
Yeah, I'm 2-0.
Wait, what?
So I worked for the Pritzker campaign against Chris Kennedy, and then I moved to Massachusetts and voted against RFK. So I was 2-0 defeating Kennedys in under a year. It was great.
And I guess just to finish it out, like things locally matter just way too much if you really think about it. For how few people end up voting, and for like how small, how few resources it takes to get elected to those positions, it matters a shitload. And you can change somebody's life by just having a school board that's like a little bit less bigoted. It's a huge deal.
Cool. Unexpected earnestness from Chroma09, who opened the episode saying that we should put Japan into a economic depression by manipulating currency. Bonfire 10.
Yeah, I think it's no question for locals, just like in Melee. No, but your local government, you absolutely have an influence, significantly more influence for that than maybe nationwide voting systems. But like, I think that's what people mainly focus on, is that like for the president, it doesn't really matter or whatever. I agreed with that to an extent, but the thing that was trending a few days ago was like the 99% Hitler versus the 100% Hitler. Who do you vote for? And it's like, you can just advocate that both of them get deplatformed and then still, just in case, vote for the 99% Hitler. But maybe we should all be working to make sure neither of them exist in other methods.
I hear what you're saying. I hear the spirit of what you're saying.
Download Tor browser.
Sure, right. Download Tor browser.
Maybe some people don't wake up tomorrow.
Right. All right, Zoe, bring us home. What do you got? This is a bunch of liberal bullshit.
Yeah, you got me. That's what I was going to go with. No. For me, obviously, we've had the conversation about the importance of local elections. That is 100% where the biggest change is. I do think we talked about how close those elections are. My constituency is 11,000 people. That's not a ton. And there are races in Montana that were decided by single-digit votes, multiple races, from the school board to municipality to your city elections up to the state legislatures. One of them, the state legislature, decided by 2-3 votes. And interestingly, I think what's important about this is it's not just that you can move the needle by getting those folks elected. You can reach out to them. My DMs are open. Like, people can get in touch with me. You can get in touch with your city councilor and move the needle on policy. My start in politics came from messaging the city councilor and saying, hey, I want to kind of do this law. And they went, oh, okay, let's talk about it. You can move the needle in that regard. The smaller and smaller the rooms get. And importantly, if you feel like you are trapped by the system in any way, shape, or form, it's important to remember that if you want to escape what feels like a prison, it helps to have people on the inside and the outside. Ding it. You escape faster that way.
I love it.
How cute that fucking cat is.
I know. I was a little distracted, honestly. It was a very good call to action, but perhaps even better than voting is the right to kitty.
Yeah, she doesn't vote, for what it's worth.
Yeah, so who's sleeping soundly tonight? This has been a wonderful episode. I didn't want to. I kind of was going in hoping I could rig it so that we could stick it to the politicians and you would lose. But unfortunately, or fortunately, you have crushed it. Representative Zooey Zephyr, you are the winner of today's episode of Fourside Fights. We are now going to go to Fourside for Chroma, Bonfire 10, and Fendy to battle it out while you commentate their match. So stick with us. We're going to do a quick transition to make sure that we have it all set up and ready to go. Chroma's on the box. See you in a couple minutes.
Now. God, I am so excited to not be playing in this one. I had that port 4 advantage during the whole conversation. Oh, look at that. God, Also, I love seeing us play on a nest-based stage.
No.
Oh, what is that? Here,
I don't know which buttons up B yet.
Is this getting used to the box for you? Figuring
I
out
don't know the buttons.
how to control yourself?
No.
Does it make DI harder, or
No,
that's
that's
just you?
way easier.
Okay.
I think they're smoking crack. That's strictly easier for me.
God. Oh, look at. Oh, easy in the corner. Slow. Oh, man. God, this is actually so much nicer when I don't have to play after booting up Melee for the first time in forever and getting walloped by Slippy randoms. What is that distance on that turnip there? Little jab, little poke.
Big help.
We got it, Jake.
Mm-hmm. Anything you want to shout out or let the people know about that they should be looking for?
Right now, what I want you to know about is that the stuff we closed with. Elections matter. Your voice matters. That's the stuff that I care about deep in the end, is making sure that you find the space. You know, if you got into Melee because you felt like you could express yourself in there, find the spaces that you go to in your daily life where you feel like your voice is needed. Get into those rooms. The trick is to kick the door in and then convince people that they invited you in. That is the work to be done. That's what I want to see people do here as we watch Bonfire slowly walk
Kicking
away.
the door in on Fendrick Lamar. And,
no kidding, making it look really easy.
Bonfire's a lot better than these two players, is an important bit of context here.
I gathered as much from the little match in the warm-up that we did, where I was like, oh, look at that, maybe I'm not as bad as I remember. And then Bonfire reminded me that, yes, I am actually as bad as I thought I was.
Oh, that's not.
Is this a moment? Can we pressure you to announce whether running in 2028 in the Democratic national primary?
If you want a secret congressional announcement, I apologize to let you know that Fourside Fights was not the location I chose for that. No, for me, as I talked about, most of the harm, most of the impact comes at the state legislative level. For me, that's the space that I need to be in.
Being a Californian, I do have like a lot of respect for people like Scott Wiener who like are pretty committed to being state reps and are like, I live in the 5th biggest economy in the world. What's wrong with being a state rep?
You know, and if it ever comes to a point that I feel like there's a different room, that my voice could be more useful in a bigger, okay, that's just the flex right there. If there's ever a room that my voice could be better in, I'll chase that room, whether that is Congress, governorship, or if I decide to be a stay-at-home mom someday. Oh, that's just, God.
But in a much more real sense, you're screwed for having appeared on this show.
Exactly. Is it the nature of the show? Is it being next to renowned lobbyist Frederick Lamar?
Yes. The lobbyist connection is gonna get you.
Exactly.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, all my leftist cred is gone now. It appeared something related to Coinbox. It's just for Coinbase, it's all over.
It's a dirtbag left show.
Yeah, no kidding. Ooh, look
Fendy
at that. I was gonna say.
Fendy's actually not bad at this game to the extent that Jack expressed. I just kind of feel it's much worse.
You just made it look real bad.
You're actually good. That has been our episode. Thank you all for being here so much. I hope you all enjoyed. This has been our season finale, which is whatever I call an episode where I don't want to do more episodes immediately after. So thank you all for being here. Hope you've enjoyed season 2 of Fourside Fights. We'll be back when we're back with all sorts of new tech upgrades and overlays. Thank you, Representative Zooey Zephyr, for being here. We've been going after this for a year. And I never doubted that we'd make it happen. And it was really special to have you. Thank you, Bonfire, Chroma, and Fendy, classic guests who always make my day a little bit better. So thank you all for being here. See you soon.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.